So we kind of went into it a little blind. But it's something that we just went with, and I think we're really successful at it this year. We have a bunch of accomplishments that the boys, a bunch of accomplishments that they earned this year. One, which is really important to me, is our team GPA. We got a 3.0. I think it's 3.05, something close to that, which is a really good accomplishment. We got the Distinguished Award, a little certificate, so give yourselves a hand. This is something I really take pride in, because when I first took over, our team GPA was in the low 2s. And I think last year we were a little bit higher, but it's always good that we're getting it done in the classroom as well as on the mat. A few accomplishments on the mat this year. We took 7 in the Doc Heron, which is formerly the All SPSL tournament. So give yourself a round of applause. We took 2nd place in the Lakes tournament. Okay, give yourselves a round of applause. You finished 4th place in the Berserker tournament. Give yourself a hand. And you finished 4th in league in the duels and 4th in the tournament this year. So give yourself a hand. Okay, we brought the most wrestlers to regionals this year than I ever have. We had 8 participants with 4 alternates. So give yourselves a hand for that. That's pretty impressive. Again, next year, I'd like to continue to grow that. I really think with how we wrestled this year and what we have next year, going into next year, that we could definitely surpass that. I look forward to it. But overall, like I said, our season was really good. It was a fun year. We wrestled a ton of tournaments. We had a lot of duels, especially those triple duels. I'll have you know that I don't think we're doing it that way, where we wrestle and get home at like midnight. So that's nice. So if nothing else, we'll be done at normal time next year. So it won't be as late. But we're going to get started with the awards. So if I call your name, when I call your name, you're going to come up and you're going to get your certificate and then shake everyone's hand. You can go ahead and go sit back down. That way we're not going to confuse what to do. Okay? Our first wrestler, he's a freshman. I met him at one of our very first fundraisers. We were doing the concession stand at the stadium. And this is one of those wrestlers, when we needed him, he was there for the team. He helped with that fundraiser. I think we did 2 or 3 of them. He wrestled junior varsity for us this year. Placed at the JV All SPSL at GK. And then, was able to wrestle in a few dual matches. Like I said, he's a freshman, and we look forward to him coming back next year and just continuing to get better. That's Brandon New. I'll let Roy take on.
Forced to talk over here. All right, so this next one is probably my question king. So every time I show technique, I probably get 80 questions from him. Still my thunder. Okay. like I might give them a little bit of guff for it, but I do like when kids ask questions because they try to break down the technique in their head the way they see it. Fortunately, we didn't get any matches this year with this wrestler because he got sick a few times and it kind of put us out a lot, which was a bummer for us as a coaching staff because every day we'd be like, where's Rojas? Where's Rojas? And we're like, he's sick again. And just his personality and having him in the room, it's something the coaches like and enjoy. And every day he was gone. Okay, we really noticed it. And we hope next year you're going to come back healthy. Okay, and get some matches and keep that smiling face and the questions coming. There you go. Nathaniel Rojas.
Okay. I'm going to have these next two wrestlers. I wonder why I would call them two wrestlers, but these two wrestlers, it's still really hard to tell them apart. Okay? But like Rojas was our question king. I think these two guys were our push-up kings this year. Come on up, guys. The Nonka boys, Will and Max, come on up. Okay, these boys. Okay, I met Max in the weight room, right? Yeah. Okay, I first talked to Max in the weight room and the wrestling room about coming out to wrestle, and I asked, "Hey, you gonna wrestle?" And he's like, "Yeah." You know, I'm like, "Okay, you know, we'll see." You know, and sure enough, he comes out, and then I think I see his. Were you running the halls? And then you tried tricking me by walking in, and I'm like, "Why aren't you running?" And then he just ran away from me on purpose. I couldn't tell the difference. Okay, as a joke. So they got me. But these guys, your first year wrestling, I think, did you wrestle before? Yes. No? Well, this was their first year wrestling, and you could tell that they were, at the end of the year, they were starting to, you know, get it. I think one of my favorite matches of the year was Max at Lakes, and he had a little bit of a problem locking his hands, and so he was about to get disqualified, so I had him go both up. You know, I don't think he knew exactly what I was talking about, but I had a method to my madness. Okay, so every time he would get a takedown, I'd say, "Max, cut him, cut him." Okay, let him up, because I knew he could take him down every single time. And so I think he ended up teching the kid. At the end of the match, I think the score was in the 20s. I think it was like 24 to 28 to something. It was just something just crazy. Okay? But like I said, that was one of my favorite matches all year. And, you know, I look forward to you guys coming out next year. I think you guys are going to build on, you know, what you've done so far this year, and you know, with a little bit of work and some camps, you know, with the rest of us this year, we'll see what we can do next year. Okay, the Naka brothers, give my hand. All right, our next wrestler, I've known for, I think, 3 years now. He's a freshman. I remember going to their practice when they were when he was in middle school, and I just saw these two kids, and I was like, man, these kids have talent. These kids have talent. You know, and I was like, I can't wait till I get these kids. I can't wait. Well, this kid is a freshman this year, and I finally got a year with him. Every day of practice, he's doing the right things. You know, he's just, you know, busting his tail. I mean, the kid can attack in his matches, you know, but there's always, I think in the beginning of the year, that one little mistake that cost him his matches, And I kept telling him, okay, keep working, it'll come to you. And about midway through the year, he started winning, okay? And it got him to 6th place in league. Unfortunately, he's moving in a couple days, so we're going to lose him. But I just want to congratulate Christian. Come on up.
Stop.
All right, our next kid, he is also a freshman. I've seen this kid wrestle for quite a few years. From day one, you know, he's been not only contributing to the team at fundraisers, you know, he's always the first one to help roll out mats at the beginning of practice, rolling them up at the end of practice. You know, as a freshman, it's a really tough job to ask of you to, you know, step up into the varsity lineup. And this wrestler did that very well, regardless of what they think. And one of the things that I like is when this wrestler really turns it on. When he turns it on, I almost fall out of my seat. Because I don't know who this guy is. One match in particular was the last match of the league tournament. And this has happened throughout the season, but I don't know what it was, if it was a switch or what was it, but I think he ended up teching the kid that he lost. I think it was the kid that he lost to earlier in the season in overtime. But he ends up teching him, and I'm just like, what just happened? And I feel like, Gavin, when you turn on that switch, I think you're meaner than anybody, and I think you're going to go really far. Okay, keep putting in the work, and you're going to go really far, buddy. Gavin Heath.
All right, next kid, one of my big boys. Okay, he probably shares a name with probably one of, I don't know, my more favorite action heroes. Okay, and he has a very particular set of skills. Okay, that's Liam. Okay, he's Liam Tolbert. So with Liam, okay, we take him to tournaments with us. We get a lot of chances to wrestle. Okay,
This is a heavyweight.
This is a heavyweight. So we always get 2 heavyweights into the tournament. And Liam would go, he'd wrestle, and we get maybe 3 matches, 4 matches in the tournament, and Liam would come up, and I'd be like sitting there trying to like decompress what coaches do. And here, coach, can I get some more matches? Like, yeah, trying to make it happen. And it became a routine where every tournament was like, coach, I want more matches, can I exhibition, can I exhibition? Pretty soon, we were coming out with 5 matches. And I think at one point, we had the most matches on the team. And like, we're starting to worry about match count as coaches, like, oh, we're getting close. And that's the kind of stuff we like to see out of kids. We really like to see it because they're trying to get better, they're trying to do the right things, they're trying to get that match experience, what we preach. Okay? It's one thing to wrestle every day, it's another thing to get those matches. And that was really impressive on the coaching staff. Okay? And it showed by the end of the year where we finished the end of the year. And hoping big things out of Liam the next couple of years. Okay, we got 2 more, right? Okay. So Liam Tolbert.
Next wrestler is a freshman. It's another one of those kids that I've seen wrestle over the last couple of years, and I've really enjoyed watching him, especially at the middle school. And then when he's coming up this year, I was just pumped to have him wrestle for me. Little did I know, in the off season, I kind of think about wrestling all the time, actually every game. So I just kind of start looking at who I'm going to have at what weights, this and that, what coaches do. And little did I know this wrestler would not be anywhere close to the weight that I thought he was going to be, but about 40 pounds heavier. And he wrestled some varsity matches for us at 152 pounds, which is pretty much the meat grinder of wrestling. He had 145, and he hung with kids. He may not have gotten some of the results that he wanted, but the important thing as a freshman, especially in a weight class like that, is to just keep grinding and just keep grinding and just keep grinding. It only makes you better for your sophomore, your junior, your senior season, and I really think that a lot of things are going to start clicking, and you're going to see tons of success. But you just got to keep on working, and I'm really proud of you for stepping up for us this year, especially in that weight class, and that's Blake Gray.
All right. And this guy, I like to think at the beginning of the year I had a little bit more hair. And he's one of them kids, like comes and works hard, you roll with him, okay? And he's just one of them kids. He's great to have in the room. He works hard, like I said, in practice. He goes out and scraps, okay? And he matches, okay? And he's just, it's what it is. Like I said, it's kind of hard to talk about this game. It's like, he's just one of my favorite kids. And we go out, we get 25 wins this year, which is hard to get 20 wins, much less be closer to that 30-win mark. And just beat these kids. We have close matches, and we have that win, we have close matches that we lose. We have all these matches and motions that can go out there when we wrestle. And I think at one point, I think he's the only kid that I've actually quit coaching in the middle of the match. We were at Curtis. We're taking these shots finally, and I'm like, take another shot. And we circle instead of shoot, which is like, I quit. And for me, it was didn't think much of it. Monday comes in. I got Rock. Hey coach, heard you quit. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, it's on camera. Middle of the match, he said I quit. Okay. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta watch what I say. But for me, like I said, he's just fun to have in the room. I can't wait for what next year brings with him. And I see state medal, and that's what I see. I really do, Rock. Right? I think you got to believe it. Okay? And commit. Just commit. All right? So Rock Gray. What is that?
Next wrestler is a sophomore. This is the second year with our program, and this wrestler is another one of those wrestlers that I've seen wrestle in the middle school level, and I just couldn't wait to have him in the program. Within the last 2 years, I've seen major growth with this kid. You know, a few matches away from going to state. Unfortunately, we're losing him. This kid has one of the greatest attitudes. Always yes, coach. I don't think I've ever heard him say no. Like I said, best attitude kid, one of the hardest working kids in the room. And again, I'm gonna hate losing him. You know, especially what kind of kid he is, and what we have, what he is on the mat. We're really gonna miss him, and that's Dwayne Chavis.
Alright, so our next kid. So we go to the Doc Herring tournament, formerly known as the SBSL tournament. And we've got a kid, we're like handing out weighing cards and we're missing one. Coach Chris goes frantically trying to find it, so they end up hand jamming one. So we're in weigh-ins, and he's kind of standing there, and I got the ordering coach come up to me, and he just looks at me and goes, "Is this your kid?" And I look at the name, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's my kid." And so I find Paul in, I'm like, "Hey, I found your weighing cards. Unfortunately, we traded you over to Warding. Like, good luck, buddy." Just a look on his face like, "No, I'm not going to do it, coach." "No, too bad, this is a weighing card." And then, so then we had to go fix the tournament, the bracket, everything had it for Warding. I was like, that moment I'm like, God, I really don't want to lose this kid to Warding. Like, I want him on our team. He's great. This is his second year on the team with us. He probably has one of the best double legs on our team. Okay. I think we stole him from a football player to a wrestler, and that's what us wrestling coaches love to do. Okay, he's out there wrestling freestyle right now, and just getting better for next year and the year after.
I can see each one of those siblings in this wrestler, different traits on the mat. This is a kid that didn't wrestle his freshman year, and I got really upset because he didn't wrestle, and I don't remember why. I think he was scared. He was too worried about his hair, or who knows. But coming into last year, I didn't know how he felt about wrestling. If he was just out here to, just to be out, wrestle with his brother. And he won some big matches last year. He was a comeback kid. He was one of the wrestlers this year and last year that might have been down by 8 or more points and just kept wrestling and finds a way to get the big pin. And it's always a big pin. But I think there's a point somewhere in this season where he started turning that corner and thought that he could, hang with these guys. So it doesn't have to get down by 14 points or 8 points or 6 points. And I really think he hit that corner this year. He was a state alternate this year, was a match away from going to state. I'm very proud of him for the development that he's had this year, and I think state medal next year, and that's Alex Feliz.
So, for those of you who don't know, okay, like lake riding, okay, when it comes to lake riding on top, it's kind of an art form, the ins and outs of it. And this kid, Jacob Bell, okay, he's probably like one of the only kids on the team I'm comfortable with saying, hey, let's lake ride. Okay, because we got the length, we got the balance, okay, and we've had the practice to be able to lake ride, and I'm comfortable with it. We had a lot of tournaments we come out wrestling like a champ and just tearing kids up, and then unfortunately we go out with an injury. And it was kind of crippling a little bit because we were at that point where we're wrestling, like our top game, we get this injury, so then we have to take the 2 weeks off, and then we come back and we're kind of a little flat, we come back from the injury, and we get to the point where we're back where we're wrestling tough, and we get the same kind of injury. Okay, meanwhile, while he's out with this injury, okay, he's watching video, he's like, hey coach, come look what I learned. And I'm like watching, he's like showing me this technique that he learned. I'm like, I like that. I like that a lot, let's start using it. We'd go out, when we're wrestling, we'd hit it, we'd beat it. And the whole time even when he's injured, when he's not, he's on the mat, he's trying to wrestle, he'd sneak onto the mat, and like, I hope Eileen's not here because I'm about to get yelled at, because he's not supposed to be on the mat. Okay, and he just tried to find a way to wrestle, okay, and finish the season this year as regional all. Next year, I think we're going to make it a lot farther. Okay, we just got to keep that noggin healthy. All right, if I got to get you like a pillow taped to your headgear, do something. Okay, that's Jacob Bell.
This next junior has been with the team for the last 3 years now. Another kid that I've watched since he was a 7th grader. I think that was his first year wrestling. Ever since he's come into the program, he's always wanted to do things to help or to be a leader. Whether it be running stretches, he's always out, unrolling the mats, rolling up the mats, making sure people help. And that's important. On the mat, each year I see him getting better and better. And as a senior, I really think he's going to hit the next level. And along with a lot of our other juniors going to be seniors, I think we're going to have him at state next year, looking for a state medal around his neck. The only thing is, he can't come in with his weight serve at heavyweight next year. I mean 160. But Carlos, he started wrestling this year at what, 152 or 45? He weight served at like 52. And throughout the season, he periodically dropped. He had a tough time at the beginning. I think he was about 500 wrestling at the heavier weight class. And then as it gradually started getting lower, I think when you finally got to 132 pounds before subs, I think he only lost one match. I think you were about 11-1. You're in the finals and you won a tournament. And you were 6th in region, a win away from being a state all, and 2 wins away from wrestling in the Dome this year, which, Carlos, I believe that you can wrestle at the Dome next year. I really do, and I think you can medal. Carlos Rango.
Kid, okay, from where we were last year to where we were this year, a big difference. Okay, last year we had kind of a cardio issue where we came out and we wrestled like really good for the first minute, and we kind of we gas out essentially. And this year I don't think we had that. Sorry, I get distracted. But we went out, we wrestled. I think we took some licks this year, okay? But we kept going out, we kept working hard in practice. I think he was one of the kids every day. I could probably wring his shirt out. And worked hard in the room, like I said. And we just kept going at it, and then we go from, I believe, unseated at subs to a regional wrestling. And sometimes it's hard to do. Okay? You get that unseed, you get that non-seed, and then just go ahead and take more licks. But Tristan, we didn't do that. We went, we wrestled tough. So we ended up with a regional wrestler. It's going to give us criteria next year. Go out and bang more heads. Okay? We're wrestling. You're wrestling right now, are you? I toss them. Okay, so we're trying to get better. We're going to get better. Banging heads. Okay, and we're going to move on. We're going to improve on this year. We're just going to move on, right? State tournament, I think. All right, Tristan Smith.
Another one of our juniors. This wrestler, I think what I was most impressed with this year was the level of leadership and maturity this year. I remember as a freshman, this wrestler started off this season, I don't think he won a match until Snohomish. And then he went down a couple weight classes, and then he started getting those pins. Last year, he just kept continuing to get better and getting more pins and more pins. And he wrestled at regionals last year. This year, same thing. A lot of kids were scared of him. A lot of coaches were scared of him. And I got asked, is this kid still in high school?
Dominic.
But again, I'm really impressed with the step up in leadership this year. He was one of our more vocal leaders, and he was a regional participant this year. Next year, I hope he keeps up the hard work, getting some of those some mat time in the summertime. We're going to teach him to shoot more, regardless if he wants to or not. But he's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And Dom, next year, we're aiming for that podium, and I know we can do it. Okay, that's Dominic Lieto Mills. Okay, so we're going to move on to our seniors. I always like to do seniors last. I think it's important that this is their last wrestling banquet of high school, and we're going to get started with our seniors. So seniors, when you come up, I want you to stay up here. Okay?
I really don't know where started. This year with this kid, it was an experience. It really was as a coach. He's essentially a first-year kid. You say Nate Scanman. Came out a little bit last year for practice, but we're 300 pounds too heavy, and so we just couldn't wrestle. Our other heavyweight quit, so we couldn't even practice, and it was like wrestle Freddie at 220, and you're over like 100 pounds heavy, so we just couldn't do it. And so then this year, I go to a football game, and I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, Nate's playing. I'm looking. I'm like, where? I don't see him. Looking, don't see him. And then after the game, he comes up, and he's like, hey coach, I'm on weight. And I'm like, holy crap, it's Nate. And come out to practice, and I remember when I first started coaching, I had one of my own coaches tell me, you're going to wrestle a kid who's going to hurt you. It's not intentional. It's not anything. He's just going to be so fit, big, and physical, and an athletic guy that he's going to hurt you. Nate did that. My neck, I think he's still feeling the effects of his club. But with Nate, we go our very first match against Lincoln. He's against a kid that took second in state the year before. Okay? I'm like, all right, let's just see how we do. Let's go out. I don't care if you get tagged. I don't care if you get pinned. I don't care if you have a 1-point match, quadruple, double, triple overtime. And we ended up essentially having a 1-point match. And then the last like 6 seconds, we take a desperation shot. The kid scores. We end up losing by 3 on paper, but in my mind, we only lose by 1. And we keep improving. We keep improving. We go to tournaments. First tournament, we're in the finals. And we make the semifinals at almost every tournament we're in, at least. We won Lakes tournament, okay? And then, and so everybody's coming up and they're like, who is this kid? Who is this kid? See, I'm like, he's my first year senior. And he's like, no way. I said, yeah, he is, first year kid. We hit postseason, okay, we take third in league, correct? Okay, and then we go to regionals. And probably my favorite moment is we're in the semifinals and we get the win. And I'm like, I'm freaking out, I'm going nuts. I'm like, yeah, sweet, we got 1 through. And I'm like, hey, you just punched your ticket to state. He kind of stops what he was doing. He looks at me and you can tell he decided to hit him. And I call it the Scanlon leap. And all of a sudden he comes running at me and he jumps in the air. And I'm like watching it in slow-mo. And I swear his feet get to eye level. And I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, so I brace for this. Like, am I gonna fall? I hope I don't fall. Like, and he's like coming down slowly. And then I catch him, and I'm like, all right, I got this. And it was like since Scanlon leap, I've never seen somebody jump so high. I might be exaggerating it, but that's how it played in my head. That's how other people saw it. They're like, I've never seen the kid this big jump so big, or jump so high. And so we go to the state tournament. Okay, we beat our first kid. We're in the quarterfinals, and we're wrestling this next kid. And we're like, hey, we had worked on this on the SAG, and so I'm like, hey, hit it. We hit this SAG, get this kid on his back at the pin. This is the state semifinals as a first-year wrestler. It's almost unheard of. It really is. I have other coaches like, how many first-year kids? They're like, oh, he's heavyweight. I said, how many first-year kids have you got in the state medal? And they're like, oh, none. I said, exactly. You still got to go out and you still got to wrestle these matches. Like I said, it was a fun ride. We ended with 6th in state. Okay, colleges are looking at it to come wrestle. Okay, which is like almost unheard of as well with being a first-year kid. I hope we can steal him from football as well, but I'm not 100% sure. But it was, like I said, it was a fun ride. Nate Scanlon.
Our next senior is a kid that's been with us for 4 years, and I think that's really special to have someone in our program that's lasted since they were a freshman all the way to their senior year. Most of you guys know that this sport is not easy. I've seen a lot of wrestlers come and go. Doesn't matter how good they are, being ninth graders, but very few stick it out in their senior years, and that's a huge accomplishment upon itself. This wrestler probably has the best attitude I've ever seen out of anybody. He always looks at the bright side of things. Each year he's gotten better and better. And he works his tail off day in and day out. I wish I had 100 of him in my room. It's hard to replace a kid like this. This year his goal was just to make it to day 2 of subs. And, I don't think he realizes his own ability sometimes. But not only did he make it to the second day, but he was a regional participant this year. Now, what happens next is, I've never seen before as a wrestling coach, ever. But, he ended up kind of getting robbed out of his spot. He had to pigtail into regionals. If you don't know, it's a really long story. But anybody else, would have just had the worst attitude, or I would have been just completely, I would have lost it all day. I would not have, I would have not acted as well as he did in this situation. And that just says a lot about Tyler. Now, the special thing about Tyler is that day, he was upset at first, but then when I talked to him in the hallway, he was asking me, Coach, can I take score for you? He's one of those kids that's always out helping. Whenever you needed anything, he would do it. Even if you didn't ask for it. And he's just one of those guys that, again, you just can't replace him. And, we're going to miss him next year when he goes up to Alaska. I hope he comes back to visit. He's always welcome in our room. And that's Tyler Mills. And our last senior, another one of those guys that's been here since freshman year. Again, that's an accomplishment in itself. And it feels like it's even longer when you have the type of questions that this kid has. I don't know if he would have ever made it to senior year if he kept asking the same questions as he did as a freshman. I don't know if I would have been able to take it. But this wrestler, he's just a joy to have when you're just having that stressful day. He'll say just the goofiest thing or the most, I don't even know how to explain it. The craziest thing that would just make you laugh. Freddie is one of those silent leaders in some ways. There'll be times where other kids they'll do some awkward things or goofy things, and I'll look at them and I'll say, you've hung around with Freddie, haven't you? And then, on the other side of things, they'll do some brilliant things on the mat, and it's because they listen to Freddie, or they want to be like Freddie. Kids on other teams want to be like Freddie. In fact, Freddie wore a wolf onesie with a chain to a tournament, and sure enough, the next tournament that we went to, the Bethel kid was wearing, they're doing the same thing but with muscles on his onesie. But anyway, I don't know, I could go on and on about this kid. He's one of those kids that as soon as he walked in the door, you know, and wrestled on the mat, he had something special that you can't teach. And it's kind of the it factor, okay? He finds ways to win, okay? Even as a freshman, he would just, I don't know how he did it, but he would find ways to re-roll someone and pin him. And then his, I think, freshman year, after his freshman year, at a tournament, I think it was Folksdale State, that's when he started shooting his doubling. And I said, Freddie, where's this been? I don't know, I just didn't want to shoot. And he started hitting it over and over and over again. As a sophomore, he was a league finalist in a state all. As a junior, he took 5th in state. And as a senior, he was a state alternate. He happened to have had the top, 4 kids, 5 kids, all in one region. Top 5 kids are all in one region. Next weekend, he is going to wrestle in Virginia Beach in a national tournament. I know his wrestling days are not over. We're just going to see where his next journey begins. He was a few wins shy of 100 in his career. But like I said, he's got a lot of wrestling left in, and I look forward to watching you in the future, and we thank you for what you did here. Freddie Green. Okay, I want you all to give these seniors a nice round of applause. Don't smile.
I love all 3 of you.
Good job, guys.
All right, so to finish out, we have a few coaches awards and team voted awards. We're going to do the team voted awards first. We're going to start off with our most inspirational wrestler. The team voted their most inspirational wrestler to be Freddie Green. Give him a hand. Mario.
Alright, so the team voted most improved, Nathan Scanlon.
Alright, the last team voted award is for the MVP, and they went to Freddie Green.
The next awards are our coaches voted awards. The thing about these are probably the hardest awards to give out because it's just not, 3 of these awards can go to a lot of kids. But we had to choose and vote on 3. So again, this is probably the hardest ones to vote on and decide who's going to get these. So if you don't win one, don't think it's because we don't like you. Okay. But this coach's award, this wrestler, he earned this award because all season he did, the extra things. Stayed after practice for, whether it be 10 minutes or an hour. Kept putting in the work, and we took notice to that. And it's really hard to do that day after day, or even a couple times a week for the season that we have. Okay, wrestling season is the longest season of the year because of the breaks. We go during the week and on weekends, all day. We have Sundays where we basically a laundry day, but it's a long season. So to come in and day out, put in the extra work to get better, the coaches notice. And this goes to Rock Gray.
Okay, so like Coach was saying, the Coach Awards are the hardest ones. I think when he asked for nominations, I think I gave him a list like 30 people deep.
The whole team.
The whole team, and then I'm like, and he's like, okay, I need to know why. I'm like, all right, and I'd have to like break down each one. And for me it was easy, believe it or not. Like I said, it's hard because every one of you guys has a characteristic and trait and your wrestling ability and style, and it stands out to coaches. Like, I think I probably mentally run through all your matches 100 times as soon as you're done wrestling them. And so it's really hard for, like I said, for me to vote on these and pick. But I've kind of already stole my own thunder on why we picked this kid earlier. Like I said, when he got injured a couple times and he was still finding a way to try to improve instead of just, woe is me, I'm hurt. And watching technique, like I said, getting on the mat, sneaking on the mat behind my back, just to try to get better. And that way, when he was able to wrestle again, we were ready to go and scrap and bang a rang and wrestle. And I shake a belt.
And our last Coach's Award, the reason why this wrestler receives this award is because day in and day out, he's more of those silent leaders in our room. I know for a fact that I don't have to look away and know that this wrestler, or if I look away, I know this wrestler is going to be on task, and drilling really hard, or wrestling really hard, and there's a few times where I even had this wrestler show what the drill looks like, and what the pace should look like, and it shows when he's on the mat on how much he's getting better, because he's just drilling really, really hard. And again, this is one of the reasons why I'm really going to miss this kid next year. But this goes to Dwayne.
Okay, so believe it or not, I do have one more award, and they don't know about it. Okay, and if you need Freddie's help with it, Freddie? Ready? Okay, so, Okay, so this is my 4th year here at Spanaway Lake. So with Tyler and Freddie, it means a lot to me this year, and you guys are been here those 4 years with me. But the reason I'm here, okay, the reason I even came over here was when Chris got the head coach job. Okay, I could not pass up the opportunity to come coach with my brother. It's been fantastic 4 years here, and it's been absolutely like a pleasure. So this year, okay, at the league tournament, when the coaches disappeared to go and argue and hang out and do what coaches saying, coaches vote on the league coach of the year. Okay, so I don't know if he announced it at all, okay, but in fact, Chris was voted the Pierce County League Coach of the Year this year. Okay, so we didn't get an award. Freddie's hanging on to it for me. Okay, so maybe we can find it. Okay, no, not the pillow. Not a new pair of socks. Okay, Freddie likes to put things in his singlet when he wrestles. I don't know if y'all know this. Okay, not underwear. That's weird.
You gotta give a pair of those back to Warren.
Star Wars. Freddie likes Star Wars when he wrestles.
Oh, ACF upgrade.
Okay, well, we got Chris and Morgan recognizing him as Pierce County League.
Wow, this is awesome. Thank you. So now I'm going to have to kill him when I get home tonight. Last but not least, again, I want to thank the boys for a great season this year. This is probably one of my most enjoyable seasons. Not only do they keep me on the edge of my seats on what they do or what they say, or even if they're going to be on time or not in practice. I always worry about that and wonder if we're doing push-ups or not. But I want to thank them for just making my day in the wintertime that much better. When the seasons are when it's just dark outside when you go to work and dark when you go home. Being around a good bunch of kids really helps with that. I want to thank my coaches, Coach Roy, and Coach Mario. They're great this year. I'm one of those that believes that it's not just one person. This award that I got for League Coach of the Year, I don't feel like it's me. It's all of us as a program. And I think we've all deserved it this year and every other year. I think we do our best for the kids, and we put our heart and soul into the program, and I couldn't do it without these guys, and their support and what they do. So I want everyone to give them a hand. Also, if you guys, another person I'd like to thank, she's not here, but Eileen, those of you that have used her services, she kept you guys happy. So when you see her, thank her. And I want to thank the kids that came back. They're not here today. So I like when kids graduate and from the program. I love when they come back. And whenever they can come back and help out, it just keeps the program moving, it helps our program grow. So Miguel, Angel, Monte, all those guys, again, they come back. It's good to see their smiling faces, and I love what they're doing, and they're coming back home to their program. The last thing I want to say, guys, the way to get better in our sport is to keep doing it. So however you guys can find a mat, use it. Okay, if you're not doing anything, there's mats open there's so many different opportunities in the area to get that. I know Bethel's running a practice. Ryan, you know what days?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 6 to 8. Bethel's running. Now, if you want to join, I think you gotta have a USA card, and I think you might have to register. No, just show up with your USA
Did
card.
you have a USA card?
Okay. Some clubs have to use and all that. I don't know. But if you like more information on a certain club, feel free to ask. Washington High School. That's Team Tossum. They're Tuesdays and Thursdays at Washington. At Yale, Coach Hawk is running Toro Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at Yale High.